I would like you all to take a moment and think about all the educators you've ever had throughout elementary school to high school, college, preschool even. How many do you think you've had in total? 40, 50, upwards of 60? I know I've had just about 70 myself. How many of these people do you think truly had a deep and meaningful impact on you that you still think about today, or that influenced you, or that just changed your life? Probably a lot less than the total number, right? Why is that? I know the title of this talk is A Blueprint for a Better Teacher, and I hope that doesn't make me seem like some sort of know-it-all, because after all, I am obviously no teacher. But I am a student, and I know many of you are students, and I also know many of you are teachers. So what that means is a lot of classroom experience, meaningful classroom experience. So in a way, we are all kind of experts. Let's see. So we all understand a relationship with a teacher. We have all had these relationships with educators, and we've all had impressions from these people. I know over the course of my career as a student, I've been fortunate enough to have many amazing teachers, many of which are here today. The impact these teachers have had on me can hardly be put into words, just expressing how grateful I am is truly difficult. Going into high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do at all, and I certainly did not like reading at all. But a series of great English teachers and language teachers, some of them right there, enabled me and showed me that not only is English something that I enjoy as far as the reading and writing, but the language itself is so fascinating to me. And they themselves, and the way they reached me and my peers and inspired us and gave us someone to look up to, that also inspired me. And that's how I know I want to be an English teacher, is because of these amazing people I've had. One to highlight who's not here right now, Mr. Carrier, who was probably the first time I ever truly realized that a teacher could get you to want to go like, and like use your brain and think. Or even now that I have a teacher I have right now, Miss Jen, for example, where she just like, you walk in there and you're like, whoa, this lady loves students. She loves, these are her people. She's here for them, and you feel that, and you feel you matter. It's people like these, the impact they have on students like myself and others, it's astounding. But what do the person or persons that come to mind earlier, what are they doing differently? Now, obviously, there's no end-all, be-all answer to this question. Let's see, but there's one thing that arguably presents itself as the most useful in most situations, and that is relationships, specifically that of teacher to student. Now, obviously, relationships make everybody feel better, so that's great, but also the social mind is incredibly important while teaching. Fostering these positive relationships with students, not only from teacher to student, but from student to student, has been proven to have positive impacts not only socially, but academically for students throughout all grade levels. And it's these relationships and how they are used to convey the information that's key. Because let me ask you a question. Who do you think would make a better teacher for students taking high school level classes? Someone with only a high school level education, who is phenomenal at building relationships with students and using those relationships or an engaging classroom to convey that information, or someone with a double master's in the field who doesn't take time to build a relationship with students and doesn't worry about that, in-depth discussion or getting to know them? Who's going to be better for the student? If you don't know the answer to that question, let me ask you another question, but I'm going to put you in a situation this time. You're in a classroom and you have no idea what you're talking, or what the teacher's talking about, because the way they're explaining it just isn't clicking with you. It's like the Snoopy parents. You're not understanding anything that's going on there. What do? I know my answer, and I know a lot of your answers, is to ask a student or a peer. And why is that? Grown-ups, your parents that aren't students, maybe you ask a coworker in a meeting or things like that. Why is that? Is because you have a relationship with them and they can explain it to you in terms that you understand. They use these relationships to transport this information to you. Obviously, having knowledge is important for a teacher, but what are you supposed to do with knowledge if you have no way to transport it to the student? So how do you get a student to listen? You make them want to listen. When a teacher I have a relationship with is talking, I listen to them because it's like when a friend is talking. I have a relationship with you. I want to listen to you. We're having a conversation. When a teacher that doesn't strive to build relationships or get students engaged is talking, it's like someone's playing an audio tape of a textbook. Frankly, I don't care. But how do you build these relationships with students? The first thing you have to do is show you want to be there. I've had teachers in the past where it's felt they didn't want to be there, or their reason for being there wasn't teaching, and you feel it. You feel that it's just a flat, void classroom. But I've also had teachers where it's like, oh my, like you take a step back, it's like this person almost needs to chill. Like they're so, like Mr. Garland, my science teacher, Mr. Garlandhouse, for example. Like, he just wears it on his sleeve. Yeah, I want to be here. This is what I want to do. Check out this. Like, I'm swinging a wrecking ball around in class. He has an amazing time. And never in my life would I seek out information on physics or care about that wrecking ball. But he's so ecstatic and excited about it that I listen because he cares. If you care, your students will be able to pick up on that, and they will care about what you have to say. Equally as important, though, is showing them you care about them. Teaching is about the student. You're helping them along their journey. They need you to learn what they need to know. They need to look up to you, and you need to know that. You are there to better them. Sure, maybe through content, but if the students feel you are there to care about them and they come before the content, it will make a remarkable difference. I think it's safe to say the vast majority of teachers care about their students. The issue is, it's not always expressed. We cannot read your minds. You need to let us know that you care. You need to show us. When you're just like a flat face, when you just hide behind your desk, or there's sayings like teacher retreating, where you just give in to your students and you just fall away and you're a side figure. It hurts the students. It damages the classroom, and you need and engage in a positive classroom, and it benefits everybody. And but what do you do if maybe relationships aren't your thing? I know there's obviously teachers out there who might struggle with one-on-one relationships. What do? You can make a classroom engaging and educational without having the strongest one-on-one relationships. And I think this is where a lot of teachers are bothered by the state of professional development nowadays, because why is it the way it is? In a society where we're so focused on teachers not being cookie cutter for every student and it being flexible, we forget about teachers along the way, and we assume that every teaching style has to be the same for every teacher. That's not how it works. You can have an amazing classroom, and you can make a classroom work in more ways than what the books say. But what can you do? What are things and steps you can take? You can do things like having more assignment variety. You have a type of assignment, you can have different types of it to accommodate for different student learning styles. A great example for a teacher I have is Miss Malo, my amazing drama teacher. While she doesn't struggle with one-on-one relationships, she implements things like student-led questions of the day, or fun vocab, or just getting students involved in ways that make you feel engaged and make you feel like you belong and want to be in the classroom. Students, you can make your classroom work in so many ways, but it has to be engaging, and the students have to know you care. If you do those things, you can make pretty much anything work in a classroom. But making the students know you care about being there and them is the most important thing. My AP Psych teacher, who's actually here, Mr. Talberg, is an amazing example of making students know they matter despite content. Because AP Psych, that is a content-based class. There's not a lot of wiggle room for one-on-one stuff. There's not a lot of wiggle room for group work. Yet despite that, Mr. Talberg always makes the students feel like they matter more than the content and they come first, and that he's there for them and this class is there to better them, not just to throw words at them, even though it's an AP class and it's kind of just to throw words at people, but you don't feel that way. Just teachers and students here thinking about becoming teachers, or anybody who's just going to be put in a position to educate or help better someone in the future, just know the impact and the importance of what you really are doing. You are changing lives, and especially if you're in a position where you volunteer to educate as your career, especially at the high school level, the change that you are having on these students it's like insurmountable. It is, you truly are changing the courses of people's lives, and you need to know that. And the positive impact you can have is astounding, but you also need to know that the negative impacts you can have are just as equal. Your role is important, and an engaging classroom benefits all involved. It's been shown to increase student retention and grades, and a positive classroom and well-directed professional development is shown to teachers teach longer and they teach better in these circumstances. So when you're building these classrooms from teacher to student, it really does benefit all parties involved. And I would just like to say that teachers here, I know us students don't always say it because we're gangly and awkward and we have other things on our mind during the day. But thank you. We do appreciate you, and we don't say it, but those of you who are like lighthouses for students, you are guiding them and helping them, and people, we look up to you and we need you. The valuable teachers, you are so important, and we don't give you enough thank yous. And anyone thinking about going into this field, know the importance that you will have, and you can fulfill other people's lives as much as you can fulfill your own life through teaching. So, thank you, everybody.